Now the parliamentarians don't know where they are, and they're asking a lot of questions among themselves. They can't even make the laws. Now, to make the law, they're telling the country that we are scaring the investors. Hell no. Who are the investors? We are the one to make the law. They come to our terms and conditions. Papunigini, I'm Mr. Ekanda. I was the one who took the PNG LNG project to court because of the unlawful entry of agreements in between the government and the developer ExxonMobil and their partners. So, based on the issues that has been raised on the floor of Parliament this recent sitting about PNG LNG project and Lenona, Honorable Gary Yufa, Governor for Northern Province, has raised some series of questions on the floor, as well as the opposition leader, Mr. Opposition Leader, Mr. James Nomane, a member of Suave, and then some very good questions about the ownership here. I've also challenged the ownership of the resources because me, as being the chief of the Tukupa tribe, we own the oil and gas in the land. Now, we've got two issues here. One issue is the land ownership, and the other issue is the resource ownership. Because the land and the resources are one package that comes together, and it has been separated. By law, the lands department has got its own law to safeguard and protect the resources that is been in the land. But then there's another law that governs the mining and oil and gas. All of them all together. We have the Conra Bill by Ambassador Peter Donaghy as a prominent lawyer, constitutional lawyer, has been challenging the same ownership. And we got a bill sitting there, which Governor Gary Yufa has said in the parliament that bill is still around there. And why it can't go through? Because of the developer and financiers' interest. So by hearing everything in between, and also me as a landowner who challenged the ownership of the resources, that I do not have standing. I don't know how that happened to be. I don't have standing to challenge the Oil and Gas Act that is under my land, which has been given away by an agreement. Now, this one, I feel that I just want to use a simple metaphor. I just want to make this country know and understand, because I'm the one who took it to the rule of law, into the Supreme Court. I had the full bench, had my case about the resource ownership, which substantive matter is still pending, but I have no standing. So I have been taken away from my resources that I own. I can say I own it, but by law, I don't own it. Okay? And I need some constitutional lawyers to interpret standing to my resources to own it. And the other thing I have realized is that in the ruling, they put in the ruling, the 5 judges that made ruling over this case has made provisions for the state to own it, to give it away. Why I say give it away? Because what law that gives our ownership to the state and in the ownership, it takes away what state owns. Because you tell me, how do you own it? By way of participation. Now, the state doesn't participate as a owner. How I found that out is by going to borrow money from Dubai, Abu Dhabi. The Somare government borrowed money from Abu Dhabi to pay for the 19 point something percent, 19.3% of the PNG LNG. So, in fact, we don't own what we have. We went and borrowed money to pay for what we already have. Now, the matter has been up by questioning the parliament on the UBS loan. So, if the UBS loan has become an issue now through oil search, then let's go back to Abu Dhabi deal, the triggers the UBS deal. Now, it's the matter before the parliament now. Now, how I understand this parliament, the parliament sitting, the very people that made the law are questioning their own law that they have made to govern a country. So, as for me as a citizen, I don't have standing, says that the government doesn't represent the people. Which means we are already questioning our own power, that we have to make law to benefit our people. Now, the law that is already written in, which I have already taken it to the court ruling says that I don't have standing. How in the world that I own what is in my land cannot be mine? I have a house. I have food in the cupboard. Now, I don't have access to the food that is in the cupboard, the house that I own. How can that be? And then I am not eating. I'm not eating. I'm driven by poverty in this very land. In the very food that I have to grow, this country is being locked up in the cupboard by someone who have the key. So the country doesn't have the key to the resources that we own. And we depend on tax. We depend on the interest that we went and borrow money to pay for, which is already ours. You see, the law is confused. Even I have the ruling already from the Supreme Court. I don't exist. I don't have standing. I don't know who I am to challenge the very law that is denying my rights to own. It's a big question in this country. Now, the parliament that is being established to make law to defend and protect the people of this country and benefit the resources that we own has become nothing to me. So I don't own what I have. What is the problem? The law is not fixed. The law is not straight. The parliamentarians in the parliament doesn't make any law as a resource owners to empower the people of this country. Am I confused, please? I might be confused because I have challenged that. The ownership has been challenged in the Supreme Court. Without going into the substantive matter, I don't have standing to challenge it. Even though I said I own. And for me not to challenge it, social mapping and land identification studies was never done by law. By law, it has been provided by law to do the social mapping and land identification study. Maybe purposely that was not done so that I can't have standing. And anybody who wants to come in, then the oil continues to flow. The gas continues to flow. Now we are talking about the gas. What about the oil component? Have we been paid? I saw on the newspaper that ExxonMobil was talking about exporting the oil that is through the Kumul terminal. Kumul terminal was for Kutubu. Is there any benefit to it? A lot of questions to ask. Like my honorable member Daniel Tindibu was questioning about the review of the PNG LNG agreement. I can't see a review in the PNG LNG agreement, which was signed by Somare Temu government. I can't see that. Oh, is there any review clause in the PNG LNG agreement or in the UBSA agreement? And even until today, the Tukupa tribe are not beneficiaries today we speak. We are not being paid. We can't be paid. And Heights PDL1 is not being paid until today. When are we going to be paid? It's not the one now. The issue we have now is the law made it provide for all of us to be paid legally. That is still the questions that everybody has, and even I have that question, and I've been through the rule of law in this country, and there is nothing. I don't know where to go and how to go. The place with the we are to be satisfied is only in the parliament. Now the parliamentarians don't know where they are, and they're asking a lot of questions among themselves. They can't even make the laws. Now, to make the law, they're telling the country that we are scaring the investors. Hell no. Who are the investors? We are the one to make the law. They come to our terms and conditions. Thank you, Papua New Guinea. You can own it, but you don't own it by law. Thank you.